They profiled her. Now they bow when she enters the courtroom. Before we begin this powerful story of pain, courage, and triumph, hit that subscribe button right now. Because on this channel, we tell the stories they tried to erase. Stories of injustice, survival, and victory. This is Wealth and Wounds, where truth has a voice. Pushpin, click here to join the movement. Medium skin tone hand pointing right now. Let's begin. The year was 1998, and rain poured over downtown Atlanta like the heavens were weeping. Inside a broken-down car sat a young woman, Danielle Harper, 19 years old, soaked, terrified, and exhausted. Her afro puff was flattened by the rain. Her hands trembled as she held a cracked phone to her ear. "Ma, I'm fine, I swear. The cops just stopped me for no reason," said I fit a description. Her mother's voice was thin and fearful on the other end. "Baby, please, don't talk back to them. Just keep your hands visible." The flashing red and blue lights painted Danielle's skin in alternating tones of chaos and control. A tall white officer leaned into her window, flashlight in her face. "Step out of the vehicle." "For what?" "I didn't." "Step out." His tone was final. The rain intensified. Her heart raced. Moments later, she was face down on the hood, handcuffed, her car searched, her dignity stripped. The officer sneered. "Next time, don't drive through this neighborhood, sweetheart." That night, Danielle sat in her car long after they let her go, shaking, crying, whispering to herself, "I'm going to make sure no one ever feels this helpless again." Danielle enrolled at Atlanta State University, majoring in political science. She worked double shifts at a diner, often coming home at 2 a.m., still studying until dawn. She knew what people whispered. "She's not judge material. Black girls from the South don't make it that far. She should be grateful if she makes it to paralegal." But Danielle burned with something deeper than ambition, vengeance wrapped in purpose. One day, she entered the university law debate. The topic, is the American justice system fair to all races? Her opponent, Richard Hale, son of a federal, smirked across the table. "You gonna argue with emotions or with facts?" Danielle stood tall, her voice steady yet cutting. "Sometimes, emotions are the facts. Because behind every statistic, there's a story you'll never understand." She destroyed him in the debate. The audience stood in applause. Richard glared. That night, she received an email. "You don't belong here. Go back to waitressing." She smiled through the pain and whispered, "Keep watching me." If you're still watching this and feeling Danielle's fire, pause right here. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, because stories like this don't just inspire, they remind us why we fight. Join the Wealth and Wounds community. Medium skin tone hand pointing right, click to subscribe. Now, let's see what happens when the girl they doubted walks into the system that broke her. Law school wasn't a dream, it was a battlefield. Professors underestimated her. Classmates excluded her. One even mocked her southern accent during a presentation. "Miss Harper, maybe you should focus on learning basic grammar before trying to teach the Constitution." Laughter filled the room. Danielle froze, eyes burning, voice trembling. "Maybe you should read the Constitution before teaching it." By graduation, she was top of her class, but the world outside didn't care. Every law firm she applied to gave her the same polite rejection. "We've decided to move in a different direction." Translation, not you. Then, one evening, a small, run-down legal aid office took her in. She defended single mothers, the homeless, and wrongly accused men, people society forgot. Her first client was Tyrone Bell, a 16-year-old boy accused of stealing from a convenience store. He didn't do it. She fought tooth and nail, working late nights, digging through security footage, challenging biased witnesses. In court, she stood against a smug prosecutor, Richard Hale, now fully grown, wearing the same arrogance she'd seen years ago. "Miss Harper," he said mockingly, "are you sure you're ready for this level of law?" Danielle met his gaze. "I was born ready." When the jury returned not guilty, she saw something shift in the courtroom, not just a win, but a reckoning. Word spread fast, the young black lawyer who beat the system. News outlets called her the voice for the voiceless. She became a symbol of resistance, but fame brought new enemies. Threatening letters arrived. Her car was vandalized. One morning, She walked into her office to find it trashed, files torn, window shattered. Scrawled on the wall in red paint were 3 words: "Stay in line." She refused to quit. Instead, she ran for judge of the Atlanta High Court. The city laughed. She's too young, too female, too black. Even her mentor warned her, "Danielle, this city eats people like us alive." She replied softly, "Then I'll make it choke." The election was chaos. Rumors, lies, smear campaigns. Richard Hale, now a top prosecutor, publicly mocked her during a debate. A waitress turned lawyer wants to be judge? What's next? A janitor running the Supreme Court. The crowd laughed. Danielle didn't flinch. When it was her turn, she said quietly, "The courtroom doesn't need more men with power. It needs people with conscience. I've cleaned tables, I've scrubbed floors, and maybe that's why I understand justice better than you ever will." The audience fell silent. Election night came. The votes poured in. Tension filled her living room as her family held hands. Then, the news anchor's voice cut through the air. And the new High Court judge of Atlanta is Danielle Harper. She collapsed to her knees. Tears fell freely. Her mother screamed. The same police department that once harassed her now saluted her on the steps of the courthouse. Her first case as judge? A wrongful arrest suit against the same department that had profiled her years ago. She listened to the trembling voice of a teenage boy describing his pain. And when she banged the gavel, declaring justice for him, the courtroom erupted in applause. Danielle looked out through the glass, her reflection merging with the young girl she used to be, scared, soaked in rain, whispering in her car, "I'll make sure no one ever feels this helpless again." This is the power of resilience. This is the fire that injustice can't extinguish. If Danielle's story moved you, hit that like, comment, share, and subscribe button, because on Wealth and Wounds, we remind the world that no matter how deep the wound, the rise is always louder. Broken Heart Fire. Pushpin, click here to subscribe now.